Oh my god, Becky, look at that gameplay. I reviewed the console version of Rise of the Robots. I said it was the worst game ever made, and it was the worst game I ever played at the time. But then, I had the horrible privilege of playing Rise of the Robots on the Game Gear, and anything I said about the console version of this game is multiplied tenfold in the Game Gear version. It is unbearable to play. When I first started playing, my mouth was agape. I was like, no, that didn't just happen. In fact, here's footage of my first playthrough of the game. I start the game up, and the enemy just starts jump kicking you non-stop. Like it's a weird game of frogs jousting each other. Like medieval frog knights just jumping at each other. And I thought, okay, well this strategy is really stupid and there's no way I can even pass the first level without pure luck. There's really no defending this. There's nothing I can really implement in terms of strategy aside from just jump kicking the enemy back. And I tried this a few times, and as I thought, I couldn't really pass the first level. But see, this game has this fight training option where you can basically fight all the robots in the game. So that's the only way I can show you all the robots. So I played all the other robots, and they have the same exact strategy! And this game has the gall to actually write down what a robot is good at and bad at before the fight starts. Like, oh yeah, this robot is agile. Oh, this robot is slow but strong. And yet they implement the same exact strategy. And the game actually lists the intelligence of the robot. The enemies have no intelligence. That shouldn't be an attribute. They all have the same strategy. Walk at you and jump kick. And there's no defense for this strategy because they completely overwhelm you with this simple yet completely devastating attack. So you have to do the same thing. And it all comes down to luck. And unfortunately, the odds are not in your favor. The enemies hit harder. They have way longer range. You will lose about 90 to 95% of the matches, no matter what you do. Yeah, you can just kind of kneel and block the enemy from just completely raping you, but you're still losing life when you're blocking, just at a slower rate. And because the enemy attack is completely relentless, the second you get out of block, the enemy traps you in a hurricane of jump kicks to the face. I have no idea what the point of blocking is, because the only real way to defend yourself is to jump right back at the enemy and hopefully you attack first. It's like, you know how they say the best defense is good offense? It's true in this game, but for all the wrong reasons. Good offense is the only defense in this game. It doesn't give you a choice. There's no rest. The enemy mixed caffeine and angel dust, and now it just cornered me in a prison shower and having a go. It's just ridiculous that the only strategy I can do is the same exact cheap strategy the enemy does, and that still only lets me win about 5% of the time. I mean, look, what makes a really bad fighting game? It's when there's really only one way to beat the entire game. And what was that one strategy in the console version of Rise of the Robots? It's just walking forward and kicking the enemies. The difference is, there, the enemies kinda had different strategies. The robots repeating the same strategy over and over, but the different robot had somewhat unique ways of raping you in the game. Here, it's the same exact thing. Jump kick, corner you, jump kick, you're dead. The only robot you have a good chance of beating is the second level robot, the big burly guy. You use the same exact strategy on him. He does the same exact kicks as you, but for some reason, maybe he's a little slower than the other robots. Maybe he was programmed a tad off, where when you jump kick with him, you actually win the exchange most of the time. So you can actually back him up against the wall, and you can use the same awful, poorly thought out strategy to defeat him as the other robots use to defeat you. It's like revenge against the other robots in a way. But really, you're still losing because you're playing this travesty of a fighting game. The real revenge would be if the developers of the game put themselves into the game as training dummies so you can practice your jump kick technique on them. Oh, and of course, everything from the graphics to the music is far, far worse than the console version. But, that's to be expected, so I'm not gonna get angry at that because, it's a portable Game Gear version. Portable games are going to have worse graphics than console games. That's just the way it is. But worse gameplay? They could have improved on the gameplay. I mean, if you're gonna take out the gameplay physics and mechanics of the console version, one would think you would improve upon them because you realize how bad they are. But they made it worse! They made it much worse! My god! The only other attack you can use in this game is this weird shoulder attack like you're a football player. It doesn't do much damage and it's more or less useless most of the time. And also it has a weird way to execute it. You press back and attack. Yeah, that's right. You're pushing forward with your shoulder, and yet you're pressing back on your directional pad to do this attack. Why? Why aren't you pressing forward? Who knows? It's fucking Rise of the Robots. Jump kick, jump kick, jump kick. I'm almost certain of this here. If you go to the most violent, insane asylums in the world, and you ask to go see the craziest person, they will take you to a cell where a guy is all tied up, and he just screams, jump kick, jump kick, jump kick, over and over. If you play this game for any more than 10 minutes in your life, your brain will melt into paste. It's like if this is the first game you play on the Sega Game Gear, you will never touch another Sega Game Gear game in your life. This game is a repellent to any console it touches. Rise of the Robots for the Game Gear gets an official stanburdman rating of a 1 out of 10. It is kind of bad. I don't know if you heard me before saying it, but it's not a very good fighting game. Thanks for watching. Goodbye, my friends.